Earlier on in the night, at 10:29 p.m. here in Miami time, East Coast time, I announced on America TV, which is the studios that I'm talking to you from now, with a panel of analysts. I announced my projection that President Trump will be the 47th president of the United States. He will win this election. And how I came to that was I saw what was going on in North Carolina and Georgia. And in Georgia specifically, what I saw was that Kamala Harris and Donald Trump were winning the counties they needed to win with the same percentages, more or less, within 1 point of each other from 4 years ago, right?
Correct.
The percentages didn't change.
No.
What changed for Kamala was that while the percentage was the same, the vote count was not the same. In other words, her base was not turning out. And it turns out that a few minutes ago, Newsmax headline is that the African-American vote is not turning out for Kamala. That's in Georgia. That's in Georgia. So we called Georgia
closely.
We called Georgia. We called Georgia for Trump. And now the decision desk at Newsmax has already followed our lead and has called Georgia for Trump. So at the beginning of the night, Trump started with 219 electoral college votes. Well, how do we know he was going to have 219? Well, because we know Republicans are going to win Texas, Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, Mississippi, South, all the usual states that the Republicans win. Correct. And we knew that Kamala had 226 electoral college votes. How do we know that? Well, because we know that Kamala was going to win California, Illinois, New Jersey, New York, the usual states that Democrats win. So that left us with the 7 swing states. Now, once he won North Carolina and once we called Georgia, each one has 16 electoral college votes. That's 32. 219 plus 32 is 251.
That's right.
You need 270. That's a base we needed. Then you need another 19.
Correct.
Right now, as it stands, over 60% of the vote has been counted in the state of Pennsylvania. There are only two counties left to count, and they're both red counties. Trump is leading. All the votes in Philadelphia have been counted. All the votes in Pittsburgh have been counted. For Kamala, by the way, she won those areas. But she won those areas with less people voting. Correct. When the night started, I didn't say this in Spanish, and I should. When the night started, when the day started today, the Democrats were at a deficit. 4 years ago, between vote by mail and early voting, they had an advantage over the Republicans of 1.1 million more votes over the Republicans. So we could not overcome that in one day. That was impossible. On election in 12 hours, you couldn't do that.
Right.
This year, the Democrats started with an advantage over the Republicans again. Only it wasn't 1.1 million. It was only 400,000. That means that they started with 700,000 votes advantage less than 4 years ago. The Democrats did. So in order to win, Kamala Harris had to pull 500,000 votes out of Philadelphia County, net votes out of Philadelphia. That means you had to have an overwhelming. That's why she had that big concert with Oprah and Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin. No, the one last night. The one last night was Katy Perry, was Lady Gaga, and was Ricky Martin. And that's why she did all of that. She could not pull that base. She won.
Sorry to interrupt. It's also worth mentioning that all of most of the celebrities that supported her were seen at P. Diddy or at Epstein's parties.
That's true.
That wasn't very favorable to her.
No, that's an excellent point.
Right, great point.
Right. And so right now, Pennsylvania has not been called. But Pennsylvania will eventually have to be called for Donald Trump. And that will get him to 270. And then the rest is just elementary. He will be the next president of the United States.